This is More Than Reality podcast, where we dive into all things faith, family, and marriage and share that there is so much more than the reality that you see on the surface. Welcome to More Than Reality with Adam and Danielle Busby.
All right, welcome back, guys. This is the More Than Reality podcast with Adam Busby and Danielle Busby, and we're married.
We're not siblings.
And so this is episode 1. And so we're going to take you way back. We're going to take you
way
back to how we met.
Okay, episode 1 is bringing it back to how Adam begged to go out with me. It's about where it started, guys. It's where it started.
As we tell the story, you'll realize really quickly that's not how it went.
I know it's worse.
It is worse. It is much worse.
I'm glad you admitted that finally after 20 years. So how about you start telling the story and then I'll fix the story in between.
Okay. So, all right. So
Once upon a time.
It's kind of interesting. So like in order to go back to how we met, we'll eventually probably have to go back even further.
We'll do that next episode.
We won't really cover that in this episode, but obviously we'll have to because we want to be real. We want to like share more than reality. We want to share like everything that like makes us who we are. And, that's the whole theme of our podcast is, showing we're so much more than the reality that you know. And a lot of that is stuff that you've never heard, stuff that about just like our childhood, how we were brought up, different home situations, stuff like that. Yeah. And so instead of going like all the way back, we're going to go how we met. We're going to start that with episode 1, how we met. And
how I met your mother.
And so just to kind of give a backstory of, we were both in...
You just said we weren't going way back.
We were both going to college at the time. This is the story.
Okay. Remember, I'm fixing everything that you say.
Here we go.
Because I will give the details and you're going to give the what makes you sound best version. Hey, just being honest. Okay. You gotta do that because it doesn't start out too good.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit. I mean, so whenever Danielle and I met, I was kind of in like a rebellious period of my life in college. It was, I don't know. So that period of time was probably whenever I was, probably most furthest from like my relationship with Christ. And it was just like a weird time in my life. Just like jumping around and like partying and going, I was very involved in like
neon lights and cars,
like car culture, like around that time, way back when, it was whenever like the first Fast and the Furious movies were going back. And that was like the biggest craze right then. That was like at the height of, that popularity. So like, that was like the cool thing. And so like, I was very involved in like that car culture, super like toxic type stuff, like, going to all the car shows. And I mean, to be real, like, going to car shows
everywhere,
going to car shows and partying and like strip clubs and like all that kind of stuff, like stuff that my mom is probably going to cringe at, like even hearing that kind of stuff. But it was probably the lowest point in my life.
Wait, did your parents know that you were doing that?
No.
Oh, More Than Reality right here. Sorry,
Sorry,
Nana
Mom.
Papa.
So, I mean, we all have
it's part of your story.
We all have a story to tell, and this is like my low, and this is like where I was at the time, and I always tell people whenever Danielle and I met, even though I was a complete jerk.
Thank you.
At the very early on and stuff like that, I was just kind of just a jerk. You just kind of learn that in the culture.
Like a player instead of a jerk.
Well, it was still like jerkish behavior, but
did your parents know that too?
I always tell, they probably still think I'm a jerk, but
No, America does. Oh, no, wait, I'm the jerk.
So, in that time, I always say that, meeting Danielle was like kind of my saving grace. And she pulled me out of just like that spiral that I was in that was just I was only headed to destruction. And
we were in the college age. So I was 19. I think you were 20, something like that. But we are from Lake Charles, Louisiana. He is from a town called Moss Bluff, Louisiana, which is part of Lake Charles. But we did not grow up going to high school together. We didn't know each other until we met at Target. So Target had just opened. It was like, Lake Charles was small back then. It was
like the cool place to work.
The mall had JCPenney's and...
We had a Dillard's.
Oh, yeah, Dillard's, yeah. But there was nothing.
That was really about it.
That was really about it. So Lake Charles was really small. They built a Target, and it wasn't even a super Target. It literally was just a Target. Like, I don't even know if they make those anymore.
They do. Like, if you go to like these really small towns, like you'll see that like Walmarts.
But they might have like a freezer
it
section.
It won't be like the Walmart Super Center. It'll just be a Walmart, standalone Walmart.
Yeah,
and those are always super crazy. But like, yes, this was like just a regular
new small town. Target. Like, what everybody's going to work at Target. This is so cool. Look at this cool place, and this is where we met. We didn't know each other prior to meeting each other in Target. So,
yeah,
there we go.
And so I was working in electronics. And Danielle was back when they actually had photo labs. Mm-hmm. So she had
I worked in the Kodak developing
desk, like
pictures.
Like a cubby in like the side of the store that was just adjacent to electronics, just adjacent to like the electronics closet. And so naturally, like I constantly had to walk by her every time that she worked.
This is where I come in and fix a couple things. So the store opens, everybody got trained. I was a little bit different because I worked for the photography lab, and that was the only thing that I did. I didn't like move areas within Target. So I was really working under Kodak. So everybody started at the same time. We started working there, and 9 months, guys, of working side by side, meaning Adam is like stepping into my area to get in the closet that he needs to get products for customers or whatever. So, it's FaceTime, see him all the time. He is like the one person who doesn't say anything to me, but probably the one that works most by me. I had lots of friends who worked there. I had my cousin work there, and everybody talked with each other. Everybody kind of knew each other, even though we were like different kind of schools and high schools and colleges that went together. But so it was 9 months of Adam being too cool to talk to the girl.
It wasn't that I was being too cool. Like, so at the time
it was.
At the time I had a girlfriend and you had a boyfriend, and I knew that. Even though I didn't, because I would see him, like he would come come and visit you every now and then. So like I would see like this same guy.
He was developing photos.
Yeah, but you could tell it's something different. Like he would just like hang around and stuff like that. You could tell like, oh, that must be that girl's boyfriend. And at the time I had a girlfriend or just kind of jumping around. But
remember, this is rebellious states.
And so I knew that, and like I wasn't one to like, well, like I knew she's like kind of taken or whatever, so why bother? And
I like how you say that.
Because I know like if I walked in there and like it'd be all over. You would just be completely enamored, and
just wait, guys, it gets way better. It's getting better. It's getting spicy. Go on.
So yeah, after like 6 to 9 months.
See, it's really 9 months. He has to like try to make himself sound better. So it was really 9 months.
Oh goodness.
Keep going. I know you will.
So after 9 months of working there,
guys that are listening, he just did air quotes because you can't see that, but he did air quotes like, oh, 9 months. Like, no, it really was 9 months. 9 months. Keep going. Your sister's birthday's in May. This was October.
after like 9 months of working there, I finally just one day, I don't know, I could have been in between
I might throw up in my
girlfriends
mouth
or something. What?
I might throw up in my mouth right now. It's like the most cheesiest.
Guys, we've been married for 18 years and we love each other.
But I'm about to throw up in my mouth as you're telling our love story. Maybe I need to be nicer.
So, very first thing I ever said to Danielle.
Are you nervous right now?
I don't know. Maybe.
You're like finally listening to your story.
Like, man, what a loser.
You're like, what a jerk I was. What a player.
So after 9 months, finally, first thing that I said to her, I think I like went into the closet, had to pull something out or whatever. And I just walked up to her and I said, "Hey, beautiful."
I literally was like,
guys, we've been married 18 years. So obviously that works.
Darn it. I was like,
oh my gosh, this guy is actually talking to me.
This guy
He's
with the highlights and puka shells.
so gorgeous.
So gorgeous and blue eyes.
And I think I'm in love.
That's not at all what I said. I was like, you're talking to me? You talking to me? Actually, I don't know what I said. I think I just looked at you like, did you really just say that? I think that's what I said. I think I looked at you and said, did you just say that? Probably that sounds like something I would say.
You also have to understand like nearly everything that I say
side by side.
Nearly everything that I say is like sarcasm. And so like, I was just like, it was
Didn't know that then though.
Well, it's like
That was the first
partly
thing.
sarcasm, partly just to see how you would react. But, I just walked up to her and I was like, "Hey, beautiful."
No. You're
And-
like, hey, beautiful. Hey, beautiful. I was like, bleh. I'm going to be nice. But I literally was like, I was more of like a guy's girl and friends with guys. And so like, I was like, if you think talking to me like that is going to win, clearly it did. But it was just like, does this really happen? Like, guys talk like this to girls, like, hey, beautiful. And they're all like, oh my God, he said beautiful to me. And I'm like, this is not at all me.
Yeah. So like for months I would see Danielle and she was definitely unlike any girl that I would normally talk to.
And you classified me as what?
Different.
Yeah.
She was definitely different. And it was just like
because he loved me.
the way that like most of the girls that I would date, they're either athletic, sporty, cheerleader, even like pageant type, preppy in a sense. And so Danielle definitely was not that. She was like, you could clearly tell she was kind of like, she was definitely,
tomboy.
she was beautiful, but it was just something about her was different. And it was like unlike anyone that I'd ever talked to or dated at the time or whatever.
So that's why it took him 9 months to say something so cheesy to me, because he was so enamored and so nervous around my differenceness.
I was like, how do I talk to this different girl?
I had glasses. I loved me some Converse.
She looked like Avril Lavigne.
I never wore a tie. No, I didn't, Dale Mills. I never wore a tie except when we had a Halloween costume.
And you dressed up as Avril Lavigne because everybody called you Avril Lavigne.
And you were, what was her husband's name at that time? I don't know, some other like punk rock star.
Yeah, he was like the lead singer.
And you dyed your hair black.
Yeah, with black eyeliner.
Yeah. Hopefully, I wonder if we can find that photo. Sure we can somewhere. But yeah.
So like I had seen Danielle like obviously many, many times and like, man, she's like she's different. Like she's like intriguing.
Because I didn't throw myself at you probably is what attracted you more to me. So as much as you
probably so.
distance, as much as you tried to be a player to me, I was like, no.
I mean, it was a weird time.
I made you work for it.
I had a really cool car, going to all these car shows. Like I had like
attention.
In a sense, like a stigma. I don't know what you'd call that, but it was not
a big head.
Maybe, probably so. I was just arrogant.
Yeah.
Because like I never really, at that time for sure, didn't have a problem like approaching, talking to, meeting girls, stuff like that. I don't know. And that probably comes from like the hello beautiful, like whatever. Like I'm just going to talk to this girl.
And since I didn't,
I'm going to throw this BS at her and see what happens.
And since I didn't fall at my knees at that point, and
like, oh, she's cool.
I was like, mm-mm.
And then
he was like, oh, I see.
That intrigued me even more. I'm like, huh, okay. Mm-hmm. So I actually have to work for this one.
Oh, I did too. For you. Didn't know it then, but after the first and second dates, yeah, keep going.
So
let's speed this part up. That was a fun part.
Over the course of probably weeks, maybe a month, we talked more and more. It would just like,
and it was banter, just like some back and forth, like just BS kind of like, cause he now was
we were talking to each other.
He broke the silent wall. And so now we were able to talk to each other.
Yeah. So we became friends and we would take like lunch breaks and stuff together in the little food court at Target over like nachos and whatever.
I don't remember.
But yeah, we would just hang out and talk. And we got, over the course of weeks and months, just like getting to know each other, finally said, hey, let's like go on a date.
Oh, yep. This is where I step in because that's not at all how it happened.
I don't have the greatest memory. So like, that's why I kind of lean on Danielle.
Because you cut out all the things that made you a jerk. He does remember. We talk about this all the time. Just kidding. So after weeks of just kind of like taking lunch breaks together. And I mean, this was like a part-time job. Like it wasn't like we're there working I wasn't 40 hours a week. I'm putting myself through college at that point and, just doing that around school. But Adam, there was days, I would work and he wouldn't work and he would come bring some pictures to get developed. Cause that's what he saw that other boy do. I guess I should have a reason to go over there. So I remember, him coming up on a day off and asking me to like go out in the way of saying it like, hey, beautiful, like that. It was like, like I'm going to do this. Like we should go and you should go. It wasn't really like, hey, let me take you out on a date. It wasn't that terminology because he was too cool for that. So he had to like be swag with it. And so finally,
swag.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does not make sense, but okay.
Yeah, you had to be swag with it.
Weird choice of words.
Well, that's just what came out. So it was, I know it was like I think time had gone by. I had broken up with the guy that I was with. And this is when you were like, oh, let me go ask her out, but not properly ask her out. So he wasn't working that day. And I was like, okay, well, call you when I get off work or whatever. It's like, cool. So I get off work and he wasn't. And I mean, I go back to my apartment and I mean, just time goes on and time goes on and time goes on.
So we didn't have like an official, like,
let me take you to dinner. It was just like, let's hang out or let's go.
Like, let's maybe hang out later or whatever. I'll call you later. Since I wasn't working, I was hanging out with some friends or whatever. And the night got away from us.
Good influence friends.
Yeah, for sure. The night got away from us. I think we were like that night. We ended up going to, we were just hanging out that day and then we got invited. Like a bunch of other people were like, it was like the DeQuincy Railroad Festival or something weird. And so we ended up, the town, one of the neighboring towns that evening. and just like hanging out, drinking, and clearly the night got away from me.
Yeah. Never answered, never called, nothing. And I'm like, screw this guy, until I get a call at like 1:00 in the morning. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, sleeping. And all I know is that you were at Whataburger, or just picked up Whataburger, and you got that nasty gravy, and you had spilt gravy all over you. This is what you were saying on the phone, because you were probably...
I didn't even remember that.
Babe,
I do not remember that.
Because this was the first time we were supposed to go out as a date. And that was with quotes, air quotes. So I just remember being like, no. And so I don't really know what happened between there and then us. I guess just that day went by, that night went on, and it was like, okay, like we'll just see each other at work or whatever. And then you asked me out to go to dinner. I don't know how much time went in between the two, but then you asked me to go to dinner, and go ahead. I want to hear your version so I can fix it.
So I don't know. It's partly because, I mean, obviously we have...
Actually, I still don't understand. Oh gosh. I actually still don't understand why you did this, but knowing you and like your mischievousness, it totally makes sense, but I still don't know why.
I mean, hindsight, you can understand for sure.
Yeah. Knowing you for 20 years. Not much has changed.
Yeah. So like, if anybody that knows me knows that like, I will only share enough details of something that's going on
to keep it mysterious,
just to get by, and like
make a rise out of you.
I'm only going to tell you like what you need to know, and I'm not going to give any other details. And you'll either have to pry it out of me or you'll find out later.
And that's what he wants. He wants you to find out later, but he hates surprises. He just wants to be in control of, I know and you don't, but he hates surprises.
Yeah. And so at the time it had, quite a bit of time had probably gone by then that we were just like talking like lunch breaks and stuff like that.
Never saw you after he stood me up that night. There was no other like together except if we saw each other like at Target working or whatever. Like that was about it.
Yeah. And then, so I invited her, just to like kind of fast forward real quick. It was my little sister.
Don't say all that first, because it didn't come out like that.
Well, I just asked her if she wanted to go out to dinner.
Hey, you want to go to dinner? Let's go to Casa tonight. Okay.
Casa's a local Mexican restaurant. It's like the town staple in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Yeah. It's like one of the
little Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. One of the, if you're going to go to Lake Charles, you got to go to Casa Manana.
Yeah.
And
Steamboat Bills.
Yeah. And so, I just told her that we're going to go to Casa Manana.
I'll come by, pick you up.
I'll pick you up, and then we'll run to my house. I'll change, and then we'll go there.
Which none of this
is weird, because like
it didn't make any sense.
Like her apartment was maybe 5 minutes from Target, and I lived about 25 minutes away. And so I was coming here, picking her up, going back home just to turn around. And Casa Manana was like 3 blocks away from her old apartment.
Yeah.
So it was pretty close.
So it didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense of, why do you want to pick me up to then go to Moss Bluff so you can change to then you can come back to Casa? Just go change and come pick me up and let's go eat. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't
Little did she know
she
was I was testing her. And
were you really?
Yeah.
For real? No. You just wanted to show that you had a date.
I wanted to see how you would react.
That's not true.
I wanted to see how you would react in a pressure situation. And so we get to my house, and
he picks me up.
My parents are in the kitchen or in the living room or whatever. I introduce them.
No, you didn't. No. I have a very vivid memory of this day.
I don't recall what she's saying.
Because you just went to go to shower and change. And I'm just So he picks me up. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's go. I didn't know, like, he still lived at home with his parents, which was completely fine. But we go there, we get out. He's like, all right, I'm going to change real quick. Real quick for Adam is not real quick. He's got to do his hair. Well, not anymore. You don't have any. He shaved it all off. But I just am like, okay. And I sit down like in the living room. He's like, hey, you can just sit in here. I'm going to go change and whatever real quick. And at this point, there's nobody around. And I'm just sitting in the living room. And then I think it was your mom walked through and I'm kind of like, oh, hi. And I'm like a stranger in your living room. And I'm like, I'm Danielle. And it just so awkward and so weird. And then your dad comes out and then your mom's like, oh, they're talking to me and how are you? I don't even know what they were asking, but all I know is that I see Adam from around the corner kind of like peek his head over like, oh, they're talking to her. She's fine. What? Are you kidding me? I don't know. I don't
this
know
was
these
the
people.
test.
I am like getting like all these questions and this is the first time this has ever happened to me because everybody in every guy's house that I've been to, I've been friends with and I've known their families or it was just weird. Most of them. And so it was just like, this is so awkward. I feel so uncomfortable. I'm like just out of place right now. And I just want to go back home to my apartment. And here's, Adam's still not out. His sister walks out. And his mom said, are y'all going to Casa tonight? And I said, oh yeah. Adam said, we're just going to go get some dinner at Casa. And she goes, oh, okay. And here comes, are y'all going to ride with us? What?
So what the dinner was?
No, we're not riding with you. Why?
It was Kayla's birthday, my little sister's birthday.
Why would we ride with your parents on our first real date?
We were going to Casa Manana to celebrate Kayla's birthday,
which is his younger sister's birthday.
Yeah,
guys, I'm sweating just thinking about being in that moment.
Thrown to the wolves for sure.
Yeah. And that is Adam right there. The mischievousness that he knew he was going to get a laugh out of it one day and I was going to be tortured. Wasn't really torture, but I mean, just imagine like whoever's listening to this, like if you've been in that position, it is not fun. I'm like, I don't know these people. This is the first time I've been in a car with this boy. I'm sitting in the living room by myself. Your parents come out. Then they ask us if we're going to dinner. I'm like, yes. And then they ask if we're riding with them. I'm like, why would we ride with them? Why? I have no idea. They're going to drop us off. Like, I don't get it. So next thing you know, here comes Adam and yep, we're just going to ride with him, but I can't sit in the very back seat with Adam. So Adam has to sit in the front seat with his dad driving. Then we're going to pick up his sister's boyfriend. So he sits in the middle. It's like a Yukon. So it's me and, his sister, or it was me and your mom in the back. I'm like, and I'm in the third row. I'm like, this is the most awkward thing I've ever been put into a situation, like the most awkward. What are we doing? I don't know any of these people. This guy stood me up for the first time to go party with the boys. Now I'm going to dinner with him, which is his sister's actually family dinner for her birthday. We're riding with the parents. We go to dinner. Yeah. By the way, we love each other and we've been married 18 years.
Yeah. And to also preface this entire story, we both...
Yeah, explain to us.
We both love Jesus.
I didn't know Jesus then.
Now we do. We both love Jesus. And I mean, this is what makes us all human. Like we all have a story to tell. We all have done stupid things in our life. We have all just been in ups and downs and lows and highs. And, this was like one of my lows for sure. Probably one of my lowest moments.
So meeting me was a low?
No, this is like me, like a rebellious time, like whenever I was just an idiot. And so, so like a lot of the decisions that I was making at the time was like made no sense and it was stupid. And, here we are. We're on our first date at my little sister's birthday party, because our family is very close, and like we would always do stuff together and stuff. And so at the root of everything, like family is so important to both of us. And if she can survive this, and if like our relationship can survive like this dinner for a first date with a family, it'll survive anything. So here we are.
I like the way you put it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So first date. And then we had
Then
to
I
go
don't even really remember what our actual first date was by ourselves. A movie or something. I don't know. Like, I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if we've actually had one. We just started hanging out after that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That's so weird. It's so weird to think about.
So we had the dinner, went all the way back.
We drove back to Moss Bluff,
all the way back to Moss
25
Bluff
minutes away, so
with
that
the
we
whole
could get
family.
his car to then take me all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm surprised your mom and dad didn't go, you want me to drop you off at your apartment? They didn't even probably know I lived in an apartment.
Yeah, probably not. They didn't really have many details at the time.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, from that, it was...
We just became good friends, and it sounds really weird, but
Danielle was always that person that
was fun.
Whenever I was in college, and, you're just a guy, and like, so you just do like young, immature things, and like want to play video games and want to do this. And like Danielle was always like down, and like she was always super fun just to hang out with. And like we would play video games together. We'd just go hang out at her apartment and like watch movies, play video games, just like hang out. And it was just
like normal.
It was always easy. Like it started out, as a total like cool friendship. Like she was just this girl that was just so different compared to everyone else. Like, and it just made just hanging out like really easy, and it was fun. And that's what attracted me so much to her. And so fast forwarding through just many months of just like hanging out and,
just having fun. I mean,
one thing that Danielle did a lot was whenever she was not working at Target, she would babysit.
Oh yeah.
And I even started going and like we would go and like babysit like together.
Yeah. So usually, there's a family, and if they're listening to this, they know who they are. I'm not gonna say names, but they know who they are. It was always like one of my mom's friends, but it was like her and like her siblings and then all their kids. And so my mom had us young. And so whenever her friends, had kids, we were like, I mean, I don't know, 18 years apart or like whatever. So I'm not 18, like 15. So I was old enough to babysit the kids when they were having kids. And so there's this big family. And so it'd be like, 6 kids, which is ironically what we have now. And I would just say like, hey, you want to come hang out? I'll be over there playing with a bunch of kids or whatever. And he did. He came over one day because he wanted to hang out with me. And that was like a turning point in like, I think our relationship, like, whoa. And these people they were family to us. Like we were with them all the time, all family or just babies, like whatever, love them, still love them to this day. But, like my previous boyfriend would come over too, but it was just a very different,
okay.
It's like friends or somebody else would come over and babysit too, but it was just different this time. Like Adam came over and like just jumped in like and played with these kids, and they were little boys and girls. And it was just like, this is awesome. Like they were drawn to him and he would play with them. Like he was just a big kid, just as much as I was drawn to kids and like loved kids, and was just naturally kind of like good with them and stuff. I saw from that very first time, like, wow, like he actually will interact with these kids and like play with them. And like, who does that? Like what college boy does this, And it just, at the time, I remember being like, this is so fun. And it's so much easier, like with you here and roughhousing with the boys and playing outside. And like, it was like that with all of them, but he would just come in and it just made the babysitting more fun and easy. And it was an extra hand. And so it just started to be like a thing, you know, if I could babysit, I'm like, hey, you want to come? And especially with that family, and they all knew him. They would meet him, and like it wasn't like a weird, oh, don't worry, your boyfriend babysitting. It wasn't anything like that. It literally was just like we were best friends going and babysitting together because there was a bunch of kids. Like that's what it was. And I started to, I think that was a turning point in our relationship where I was like, that opened my eyes to like, I love kids. I've always been told like you're naturally gifted and like drawn, or kids are drawn to you. You have this gift. And that's just what I've been told my whole life. And then to kind of see like some male figure have those things too. And then getting to know him more, I was told, like we were told that he would get told the same thing, like growing up, like kids, when like you have fun with them.
Me growing up, you know, just involved in church and stuff like that, and like mission trips and doing all this stuff in my like early church life. Like my parents were very active in church. And so like we were just very involved in like, you know, mission trips and vacation Bible schools and all this kind of stuff. And just like, I loved kids and loved hanging out with kids and loved just really, and kids just were drawn to me, and to the point where like I had a mentor growing up, literally told me, he's like, Adam, he's like, I see one day, you know, just, he said, you know, just divine vision or whatever. He said, one day you're going to do something and you're going to have a lot of kids around you. And he said, I just see the way that, you know, you have a gift. God's given you a gift, and how kids are just drawn to you. And so one day, like, God's going to use you for this. And so, you know, I always had that in the back of my mind. So, I mean, so whenever she was babysitting, I would just go help, because it was fun. And we had so much fun together. And I saw how just awesome she was with kids. And I mean, honestly, that was definitely a turning point in our relationship, where things like got serious, because like we both saw that connection in each of us. We saw like how, for one thing, family was important. And then just how much like we just enjoyed spending time with kids, and how kids were drawn to both of us. And, you know, obviously fast forward to where we're at right now. You know, we have a lot of kids around us, and, you know, it's just one of those things that, like, you know, God is weaving this beautiful picture.
And sometimes you're not aware of it in the moment,
and you have no clue in the moment, like just in the macro moments, that like what God is doing and what he's orchestrating in our lives, but it's all for a much bigger and a much more beautiful story.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you know, so we didn't really know at the time or whatever, but, you know, that was like one of those things that, like, wow, like there's something special in this girl. And, you know, that's what really like drew me to Danielle, was just seeing that. So
that was a fast version story of us meeting each other, because there's a lot of funny things in between and everything. But on the level of how we met, you know, that was it. And then we dated for about 2 years. And then Adam proposed to me, which is a whole nother interesting story, just like that dating one.
So we will get to that in episode 2.
Yeah.
This is a very quick version of how Adam and Danielle met, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some laughs out of it, mostly at my expense.
Yeah. And if you thought that was a pretty good meeting story and how we started dating, proposal and stuff, it's not really any different.
So stay tuned
for episode 2 of More Than Reality podcast with
Adam
and Danielle Busby.
And we'll see you in the next one.